All right, welcome. It's Sunday night. We're ready to give you the Week 7 preview and power rankings in the association. It's me, Dr. Dane Andre. I'm with my man, Killanomics.
What is going on?
Man, we got a recap to do, but first we want to look at the power rankings for the association and what's been going on, and also do our preview of Week 7 matchups. So, uh, without further ado, let's take a look, see what we've got coming up for this week.
Can't believe we're already approaching week 7, man. It feels like a blur. To go through 6 weeks. I just finished putting in my All-Star ballot, for the NBA, and it's like unbelievable how fast the season is going.
Yeah, we definitely got to talk about that when we do the Week 6 matchup, Week 6 recap. Um, because I know I did my ballot as well, my first ballot, and I know it was definitely difficult to come up with the you know starters. I wish I could kind of fill out the whole bracket and put in the reserves as well, just so I could see who's actually going to make the team based on their performances so far. But it was definitely hard choosing like just 10 players out of so many you know good good performances happening this year. Um, but yeah, let's save that for the recap and take a look at what's going on in the association this week. Um, yeah, so Week 7 from a quick glance. We've got some top teams going up against each other first. My Gotham Green Danes takes on the Cranston Killers.
Ooh, baby.
It's going to be a hot one. It's going to be a hot
Yeah.
one. As you can see, Cranston Killers are loaded with talent. There's no shortage of guys on this team that can score the ball and do a bunch of other things too, statistically. So we're in for a rough week. Um, but, what do you see happening in this matchup?
Man, this was a tough one to score and figure out. Um, Cranston Killers is finally getting healthy again. Jason Tatum's been on the shelf for a couple of weeks, due to the health and safety. God bless that he's back on the court. And it looks like Trey Young has turned a corner. And then I look on your side of the ball, and Embiid starting to play really well. Um, or has been playing really well.
Yeah.
Tobias Harris is doing his thing, and a bunch of your stars are doing really well. And so, when I tried to evaluate this matchup, it really came down to, which star players are going to have, the most amount of games this week. And how do I see, those categories splitting. And so I gave the nod, to Cranston Killers for this week because he's got his stars, powered with 4 games. And something that really took me by surprise was I checked out, you know, how the Gotham Danes have been doing, on the defensive side of things, and the blocks have been a little bit lacking, given some of the power that the Danes have, and so that was a big concern for me that that's not a category that the Danes would have on lock against the Killers. Um, And so yeah, I think I'm predicting, a very tough, 5-4. Could have gone either way, but given the way that the schedule broke down, I, I think Cranston Killers certainly has the upside.
Yeah. In terms of games played, right now it looks like Cranston has a one game advantage over my Danes, but um, I think the areas that I would be most concerned about when it comes to this team are the points and all the scoring categories really points, three pointers. You know, the Danes are one of the more efficient teams in the league. We definitely have them when it comes to that. And same thing with free throws. But actually, he does have the edge when it comes to free throws. Threes, we are pretty much lockstep with each other. But like you said, Trey Young has turned a corner, and they cannot be underestimated when it comes to threes, especially with LeBron shooting more threes, hitting more threes than it feels like he's been hitting in the last few years. Um, when it comes to rebounding, I would think we would have the advantage there. We're the number one rebounding team in the league, actually, as of right now.
Hmm.
Um, and we talked about you talked a little bit about the defensive stats. Yes, blocks, we are probably not where we should be, but we're still, let me see, about top six or seven team when it comes to blocking shots. So when it comes to blocking shots and steals, we're ranked higher and have amassed more steals and blocks than Cranston has. So I think I'm going to give our team the edge when it comes to the defensive stats. Um, and turnovers is anyone's game there. We're both pretty poor when it comes to turnovers, but not. I'm fortunately not as poor in turnovers as Cranston Killers. They lead the league with turnovers. So um, no surprise there with guys like Trey Young and LeBron James on that team.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
um,
lot of turnovers on that side of the
yeah,
ball.
yeah, D'Angelo Russell, guys like that. So I gave myself the edge there. And understandably, this is a tough team to play against. So I think it could be close and could go either way. So, but I'm gonna rock on my team for that one. Let's talk about the Speedsters against the Rucker Park Busters. What do you like? Who do you like in this matchup here?
Yeah, so I mean, these are, two teams which are definitely looking to get some momentum. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but these are two teams, we had ranked pretty high coming into the season. um, week one, but have since, just struggled, all throughout the beginning half of the season, beginning portion of the season. But Rucker Park looks like he's starting to, put some pieces together.
Yeah, he's
Um,
percolating.
his percolated.
As
Um,
my man Clyde would say.
he's got Giannis. And I got to see him against the Charlotte Hornets, and
Yep.
man,
Yes, he was huffing and stuffing against the Hornets, especially in
yeah,
that fourth quarter when it looked like they were about to come back and come back in that game. Um, that was interesting. That was a fun fourth quarter to watch.
yeah, he's in a tough spot, man. Like, he can't you can't win the playoffs right in the regular season, right? And so, a lot of what's happening now is just a learning lesson, right? They're trying, different things out so that, that they'll be battle tested for when the playoffs comes. But as far as this matchups and playing the Amherst Speedsters, I've got Rucker Park winning this matchup mainly because I think he's got a pretty strong lead against speedsters in the field goal percentage category. You've got Giannis, you've got Drummond. Uh, that those are very good anchors on that side. I think he's got a very good shot to take home points Rebounds, I mean, is always, been the top, couple of teams in the association in that category. And then assist, I think he's got, a narrow lead over the speedsters in that category. I don't really see anybody swishing and dishing on his side. And then defensively, I don't think they play defense. It's pretty much should be a walk in the park for the Rocket Park Busters. So I got them easily winning a 6-3 for this week's matchup. What are you thinking over there on that side?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I like Rocker Park in this matchup. Although, you know, when it comes to to field goals, surprisingly, Amherst is one of the better teams in field goal percentage this season. That could be for it. It could just be because of the lack of games that they've been able to play with some of their players being out. Like Nurkic or Michael Porter Jr. They've had a lot of injuries on that side. Um, you know, so it could just be the volume of shots that are actually creating or inflating that value that number and that percentage of field goal percentage. But um, everything else you said is pretty much in line with what I'm seeing. I think Rucker Park should easily be able to get this win. Shea's playing well. Um, Bledsoe has been playing better and more consistently. Michael Porter Jr. is back for them. Tyler Hero is back, but I don't think it's going to be enough to really beat Rucker Park next week. So I too will go ahead and pick Amherst. Let's talk about the Celtics versus Beantown Bombers. What are you seeing here?
Yeah, this is a playoff type of matchup. Unfortunately, Bentown has been, dealing with some big time injuries, uh, as you pointed out to Devin Booker. Um, and, I see Norman Powell's out and Rozier, I saw suffered some type of injury. I don't know if it's long term. I didn't see him out there.
I didn't
I
see him
only
out
saw,
there either.
I saw only Lamelo in the second half, and he was just
Yeah,
He was just God amazing
he actually only
in that
played
game.
18 minutes in that Milwaukee game, so um, he's dealing with that right ankle sprain. It sounds like so. Um, he's a game time decision for next week, so we'll see if he starts in this matchup. But uh,
Yeah, and so like it's one of those things. Does Bimtown have enough healthy players to field a roster to play another playoff team? Um, they're going to need Luca to play at a very high level again, and he's got his own locker room issues going on. Whatever's shaking up in Dallas with poor singers,
mhm.
but I'm sure he'll figure it out, and he'll figure out a way to still produce the stats necessary. But you know, playing against the Beantown Bombers, they've got a relatively healthy lineup going. I just really can't see how the Beantown Celtics can come away with a victory. Beantown Bombers have been tough, all season long. And it's just gonna come down to Bentown is just not healthy enough to compete in this matchup. So I see easily a 5-4, certainly probably somewhere in the 6-3 range in the direction of Beantown for this matchup.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's some very easy adjustments that Beantown will probably make this coming week to their lineup. To match up accordingly with Bimtown, but they should be able to win. They've got more than enough as far as Zach Levine, Kevin Durant, and RJ's playing well these last few games. Christian Wood is back for this team, so they'll be in the lineup next week, and I think it's going to be very difficult for Bimtown to kind of get some of those stats when it comes to rebounding, uh, blocking shots. I think this one just might be a bad matchup for Bimtown. So yeah, we both got the Bombers. Let's move on to your matchup. You play True Grit.
Yeah, yeah. You want to start off and giving a perspective on what your thoughts are on this
Yeah,
matchup?
yeah. You could see from here, you guys are both dealing with some injuries in the front court. Um, but overall, what it comes down to is, games played is not going to be much of a factor here because of the quality of games played in this matchup. When I look across the map and see who's matching up with each other, I only really see Jalen Brown being the Jalen Brown and Anthony Davis being the most problematic guys that are gonna give you trouble. So um, with Simmons, Paul George coming back, see you didn't play him this week, but he's looks healthy. Came out today against the Knicks and played well. Um, Joe Harris is still sturdy. Graham putting up numbers still. Um, yeah, I think it just comes down to volume and quality of the people taking the shots. And Lou Dort hasn't been good these last few games. Baisley is just he's okay, but it's just not enough. Burks is in that lineup. Um, the only adjustment that probably is going to be made is having uh, Derrick Rose come in and take the place, and still I don't think that's enough. So uh, this one's an easy one for me.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Regarding, Paul George, man, I got news literally last week, Monday, um, maybe an hour or so before game started, that Paul George is in the health and safety protocol. And so I was just like lost. And they were like, oh, don't expect him to be back for a week.
Yeah,
And I'm like, all right, got to take this guy off. And I was so upset, right? And so I take him out and I put in Rudy Gay. And then what happens? The Spurs game is canceled. Like I found out after the game had started. Like I was in, a couple of other daily leagues trying to switch my lineup, and they're like, "No, you can't take this player out." I'm like, the game is postponed. The game hasn't happened. Why can't I move this guy from the lineup?" But you know, and my rant will stop right there. But regarding this week, I like, yeah, True Grit is really beat up, at the moment. Like, with none of the Memphis guys going. I've got Paul George back. I can take out some more bums that I had in my lineup for this week. I think I should easily be able to walk away with a 5-4 victory in this one. It's just a group collective. Everybody put your hand in and contribute to making the team victory. It's truly a team with the Phoenix right now until we get Carl Anthony Towns back into the lineup to lead us.
agreed. We both got Brooklyn going to take that matchup. Let's look at Blake Express and the Kings Landing Kings. Star-studded matchup for sure. What do you who do you like in this one?
Dame Time's got 4 games, man, so it became very easy for me to pick who was going to win this matchup. Dame's got 4 games. I just saw, we just witnessed what that man did in Chicago. You don't bet against Dame. especially when you've got enough talent around him with Clint Capella, Draymond Green giving Steph Curry passes. So if Steph Curry's going to
Bleh.
have a good game, it's going to rely on Draymond Green.
Bleh.
Is going to be delivering it, right? And Oubre, who knows what the hell he's doing out there, but he'll surprise you with one or two good games.
Yeah. I was like,
Yo,
what?
yeah, I felt bad for Steph. Yes, like I can't remember who. Yeah, the Warriors. Who was the Warriors playing? I can't remember the team the Warriors were playing, but this is a Saturday game. Warriors are probably up by like 20 or 25 points. And even I could see the spot that Oubre is supposed to run to, for this like curl screen. And like Oubre looks like he looks just like completely lost. Like if he can't read, the offensive play and where to get open, or he can't read that, oh, Steph is gonna fake this dive and then fade to the corner and throw him the rock. Oubre, meanwhile, taking a layup on like three individuals. Steph Steph looks up. He's just like, "The fuck is going on?" And he just walks back and he's just like, "I can't do this." And Clay was broadcasting that game in the third quarter, and he quote, and I say, I can't wait to, you got me, Curry, Wiggins, Draymond, and Wiseman. I'm just like, yo, what happened to Oubre?
He knows something.
I'm
He
like,
knows
I'm
something,
like,
man.
I'm like, I'm like, oh man, he noticed it's just a gap filler.
He knows something, man. He knows that
That's
that
just
guy. He
awesome.
knows Uber is out of there, man. He knows Uber is out of
Oh,
there.
oh man.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you, man. I like what King's Landing has going on with Curry and Lamelo Ball and Beal, of course. But you know, it's just them plus Bam at the end of the day, and like you said, Dame time. It's Dame time with Gordon Hayward and Capella, and it feels like it should be a little bit closer than what it is based on those matchups. But I think in a close one, I think it could be close. I think it could be close because they've got enough firepower to match the scoring of Dame Lillard and Gordon Hayward. Um, it's going to come down to the supporting cast in this game. And Dragic, I don't know what his health status is going to be this coming week, but right now he's hurt. Reddish is, he could be hit or miss, and
Well, he'll have opportunity this week with Hunter going down with an injury.
he will
So
have.
that's so that's
You're right about
so
that.
that's
You're right about
so that's
that. But the problem with Atlanta is that they've got so much depth that you never really know who's going to. So you think I would imagine it's going to be you know, Cam Reddish, but
Cam's gonna get 30 minutes, Dan.
but
He's gonna get 30 minutes,
Gallinari's back and he's going to soak up some shots and
and he's
uh,
gonna be right back hurt. He's gonna be right back on the bench.
yeah, but
He's gonna be delivering pizzas in New
the,
York.
the biggest thing with this matchup though is, I look at Reddick being in the lineup here, and it just feels like they're playing, 7 on 8, and especially when you got an injury. So I'm gonna give the nod to Blake Express as well. Um, let's move on to Solid State versus Titanes de San Juan.
Yeah, this is a more interesting matchup than I had originally planned for. You know, we've talking about it in length. The Titans of San Juan are basically the Utah Jazz
Hmm.
disguised. Um,
The hot
and
Utah
so,
Jazz.
yeah, the hot Utah Jazz, though they just got spanked by the hot Joker or
Sure.
Jokic.
Yep.
Um, right. And so, if Utah Jazz has got 4 games, they're always going to be a tough matchup. And oddly enough, this week they've got 4 games. And then on the other side of the ball, you got James Harden swishing and dishing. I guess, they decided, he needed to be load managed. He didn't play in today's game that the Nets played. And
Yeah, he'll
so,
be back.
yeah, he'll be back. And the Nets only have 3 games next week. So I expect him to be at full strength for those 3 games. And then Colin Sexton, like he's just gone. It feels like he's gone to the locker room every other week. So I don't know what the deal is with him. And Marcus Smart, we talked about his injuries, but he's got Collins and Sabonis. Um, that's pretty solid. Just yeah, it came down to, who do I think is going to be the more healthier team, and it's going to be able to put enough pressure on. Like Solid State is he's a lot. He's more vulnerable, with the Brooklyn Net version of James Harden,
Mhm.
because his usage naturally goes down because he's got to share the spotlight with 2 other stars.
You know, this one is interesting, like you said, because of the health. Colin Sexton, I'm not aware. Is there an injury that I don't
He
know of?
just he went to the locker room. There's like nothing. Like we don't know if this is gonna be like this is gonna play into the week, but he was
He left early
just
tonight.
he left early tonight. I don't know if he returned though. I don't know if he
Hmm.
returned. He might have returned. He might have returned.
Okay. Well, you know, if let's assume that he's okay. I don't see an injury report or anything for Colin Sexton, but Marcus Smart is out with that calf strain. And outside of that, um, you know, if we're talking about having to make get a replacement for Colin Sexton, there's no one on this bench that can replace that kind of scoring. But maybe you have a Joe Ingles or you have a spot start for Danny Green. Who knows? I don't know which way they're gonna go, but they might be a little bit more vulnerable than I initially anticipated. And like you said, the hot Utah Jazz, 4 games coming up. That's gonna be it's gonna be a real tough one. And I did not factor in that they've got a few guys back from injury as well with Hachimura, Bertans. Um, Boucher hasn't been great lately.
He's he's been going down. He's been
Yeah,
going in the wrong direction.
yeah.
Buddy Hield's been hot.
Buddy Hield's been hot, and this week,
Finally,
this week they were without Donovan Mitchell for a few games, and he came back today. wasn't great. Wasn't great in the last 2 games that he's played actually. Um, and so if that's going to be a trend, then that could be something that keeps this matchup a little bit more even. But for the sake of what we know about these teams coming into the year, I just stuck with the guns and went with Solid State. But I think you're right on this one. I think San Juan has a really good chance of pulling this one out. So.
finish off with and Rashawn Holmes. He's been struggling too. So I
Mm.
haven't been watching the Kings game to know what's going on. But
All I know is that all of a sudden,
I
Whiteside is back.
set you up. My side is back.
Whiteside is made an appearance. He is back in the rotation. I don't know what that means for Rashawn Holmes. I don't know what that means for Bagley. Bagley's not been really good. Really, he's kind of been struggling a little bit.
Yeah, Bagley needs to be on all waiver wires. You
Ouch.
need to. You need to. If you're listening right now, drop him. Drop him now. Drop
Wow.
him now.
Wow.
Or sell him. Sell him. Maybe you can sell him on the name value. But Bagley does not deserve to be taking
Not
up a roster spot.
wow. That's harsh. Let's look at Frankfurt versus Midtown. The Flyers and the Money Men. facing off. No CJ McCollum, as you know. But and everyone else has been pretty much rolling. They've got the big guy over there, Jokic, MVP Jokic. What are you seeing in this matchup?
Man, this might be, the matchup of the week, man. You've got some star power on both sides of the ball. It sucks that Midtown Moneyman doesn't have CJ, but you know, the Joker's just playing like two players at this point in his career and this point in the season. So I've just been really surprised, to see the evolution of his game. And then Kawhi Leonard, man, the board man gets paid, man. He just delivers each day, and now he's playing back to backs. The Clippers got 4 games this week. I mean, the Frankfurt Flyers, man. This is not going to be an easy task for the Midtown Money Man. I mean, the only thing working in his favor is I saw a news article or blurb that OG Anunoby was probably going to miss another week. So that really sucks. Wendell
Yeah.
Carter's out, for another couple of weeks. But I don't know if you've been tracking, but Mr. Anthony Edwards
Mm, yeah.
has been balling as of late. And so, that's pretty promising for the Frankfurt Flyers. And so I just felt like there was just too much going on the Frankfurt Flyers side of the ball,
Hmm.
especially Booker's still out, so Chris Paul is going to have usage out of the Gazoo, that the Midtown Money Man was going to need another miracle from Joker. And Joker's only got 3 games, this week. So, you know, I'm I'm just thinking I'm thinking the luck's gonna run out, man. Like with CJ down and out, like I couldn't get around to a story of the Midtown Money Man winning this week. So I think the Flyers will come away with a 5-4, 6-3 type of victory.
Yeah, I'm actually really buying your logic here with this one. Jokic is overwhelming for anyone, but
Mhm.
um, there's some adjustments to be made here. Obviously, you could take out Batum and obviously have Robert Covington be in, and that solves that problem. But you still, when you look across the board, you see Fox, you see Leonard, you see Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, who's been playing well, continues to play well. And then Wall. Wall's been a positive
Wall's been
contributor.
solid.
Um, yeah, you could be right on this one. I went with the money men, but I'm slowly regretting that pick right now. And last matchup is New York against Syracuse.
Yeah, the pick for the
He who
lottery. The
he who
lottery.
he who shall not be named um comes to Syracuse and plays the Sparrows. Now, you've been trashing this team for like 5 weeks, and we're only in week 7. So, you know, you got to look at what's going on here, man. You got to look at Russell Westbrook, who dropped 41 tonight. You got to look at John Morant. You got to look at, Fred Van Fleet, who's been playing very, very well for Toronto.
he's he's like top 10 fantasy.
He's
Top
he's he's
10.
number 12
Ooh.
in fantasy right now. That's
Ooh.
incredible.
Oh, he's in the 12. Okay.
hmm And you got Chris Tops, who's, still a unicorn and talented. And you got Vooch, man. Vooch is a top 3 player in fantasy right now, man. So, you know, the slander might have to stop. What do you think?
The slander will not stop. The slander will not stop because this is just a piss poor manager. Um, and he needs some talking to. And this is the way that we give him the talking to. He just gets lucky. it just so happens that the lineup that he's been running for the last year or 2 years is just not is healthy because I don't think he's made a move in 2 years. He's literally never substituted a player. It just so happens that he's back to, a point in the season where that lineup is healthy. So, God bless him, and he walks into another team that's tanking, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but
Mm-hmm.
but he's actually doing it the right way. And so yeah, I just think this is a very talented team, right? You
Mm-hmm.
know, that deserves a good manager, and so um, yeah, there's just too much firepower, in a matchup against Syracuse to lose.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even with Jimmy Butler coming back, and inserted into this lineup for Syracuse, it just doesn't feel like it's going to be enough to overcome Fred VanVleet, Vujicic, and Russell Westbrook. Yeah, I gotta go with I gotta go with NY for this one. And so do you. First time in 6 weeks that you've picked
Yeah,
NYK. I think it's my first time too, but I think he should be able to win this one, right?
yeah. I
There's
mean,
no doubt in my mind.
if he doesn't win this matchup, it's like pack your stuff up, sell the franchise. You know,
Yeah. All right.
time
Well,
is up.
that's gonna conclude our picks for this week. We'll see what happens as the week unfolds, and as usual, we'll recap it next week.